This podcast contains explicit language.
Bafangu!
Houston, flight is go.
Myla, let's go. SPM. Safety contact.
From Assignment X, thesoniashow.com, and Amalgamated Storytelling, this is the Dorking Out Show, the podcast for people who love stories from movies, TV, books, podcasts, and everywhere else.
Welcome to episode 129 of Dorking Out. This is the Comfort Movies edition. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me today is one of my very favorite people, Margo D from Book vs. Movie, the Best Neighbor podcast, Fit Bottom Girls, and Not Fade Away. Thanks for coming on the show again to talk about our comfort movies.
Well, thank you for inviting me on again. I can't believe it. I'm so lucky.
It's so fun. We are postponing another installment of Sonia and Margo Destroy Your Childhood because we decided the world needs a little comfort right now. So we're going to talk about the movies that we like to watch when we need like a warm hug.
Yeah, when I need a boost, these are the movies that I like reach to and reflexively. Like I know by the end of the last frame, I'm going to be in a much better mood than when I started. So that was my those are the parameters. That's what I wanted. Just something like it had to be a good movie. It can't be just really crappy, but I think it's hilarious. That doesn't count. So that's what the movies I picked are all really good movies, and they really put me in a good mood.
Yes,
and they make me hopeful about the world. And let's go.
Yeah, and before we started recording, you were saying that most of the movies on your list are a little older, and so we didn't want to like get into it off mic, so we decided to save it. And it was kind of the idea of those are the movies that we're going to find most comforting because we've spent the most time with them, right?
Yeah, you can like a movie very much the first time you see it, second time you see it, but upon reflection, maybe 10 years down the road, it might be problematic. You and I love talking about problematic things.
We sure do.
So I tried to fix stuff that wasn't problematic. And I think, like you said, it's something like, you didn't know you needed it until one day you saw it when you were in a bad mood. And then all of a sudden it really did the trick. And you go, this is my movie that's like a big hug. This is the movie I need when I need that. So, yeah.
And we made a point to keep off of our list things like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. These are like go-to comfort movies that I think they're like all-timer like comfort movies that like everybody has on their list. So we tried to dig a little deeper. I do have one movie on my list that is relatively recent. So that's exciting. Okay.
That's very exciting. The most recent one of mine is from 1999. So 18 years ago, 19. Yeah.
Nice.
I can't do math.
Well, let's just jump in then. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So actually, this is sort of new because I just sort of got into this movie for my podcast, Book vs. Movie. But I've recently had an injury, and I started putting this movie on, and it would always put me in such a great mood. And it's called Cold Comfort Farm.
Oh, yeah.
It's a book that was written in the 1930s. The movie came out in 1995. It's Kate Beckinsale, who's so just adorable. And her character is a woman that her parents just died, and she moves to this farm with these really eccentric relatives in the English countryside. It has Rufus Sewell in there.
Yeah.
It has Stephen Fry. It is such an amazing movie. It's another time and place. It's so witty. It's so much fun. You are in the best mood when the movie is done. And she is such a movie star. And it's so weird how her career turned out. Because you would think she would spend her whole life in period movies, right? Or, those costume dramas. And she's instead doing all these sci-fi films. It's very strange. But she's just, I love every outfit she wears. I love the farm setting. I just think it's wonderful, and it's Cold Comfort Farm, and it is just a big comfortable hug.
Yeah, I need to revisit that one. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater, but I remember really loving it. And of course, because we're basically like the same people, I also have a movie with Kate Beckinsale in it. And I think it's one of her first movies, and she's so adorable.
Oh,
so
she's beautiful.
Cute. And so I'll just jump right in and say, like, one of mine is Much Ado About Nothing from 1993.
Oh, wow. Yes.
with Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson when they were still married. So cute. Keanu Reeves, Denzel Washington, Robert Sean Leonard, and Kate Beckinsale. And I think it's one of her first movies. And she's so cute. Like, just adorable. And I just love this movie. Like, it's so fun and light. And it's just gorgeous to look at. And everyone's so charming in it. This movie just makes me smile every time I watch it. And before we started recording, I rewatched the trailer just to watch it again, and I was reminded how awesome the music is in that movie. It's so good.
It's a gorgeous looking film.
Yes.
Like, you want to jump through the screen and hang out with these people, right?
Yeah. And it is like
great.
And it's like it is like the template for every modern romantic comedy. They don't like each other at first, and then they do, So it's so good. I just love it. I haven't seen the Josh Whedon one. Have you seen that one?
No.
I didn't see that one. I need to put it on my list and watch it because I do like Josh Whedon stuff a lot, and I'll probably super love it. But I don't know if it'll, take the place of this one in my heart. This one played at my movie theater, so I saw it many, many times. And it's pretty short, if I remember correctly. It's like 90 minutes, so it's like a really easy watch. And it's also just the way it's filmed. It's like, it just looks gorgeous. It's like in the Italian countryside or something. It looks amazing. I want to go there. I want to go to there.
It's beautiful. And I think he did this just before he did Kenneth Branagh, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is
the opposite.
Which is a terrible movie. Yes, I know. He's a good director, and he's great with the Shakespeare properties. Yeah. Henry V is really good.
Yeah, I think he had done Henry V, and I think he had done Dead Again, and then this one.
Oh, I love Dead Again.
I love Dead Again too. That probably could have come on this list, but I don't know how comforting it is.
But it's enjoyable.
Yeah. What's next on your list?
So I decided to add this, and it's one of the older ones. This is from the 70s, but it is one of it's my favorite rom-com, and I'm not a big rom-com girl because I find them very formulaic.
Yeah.
They hate each other, and then they have a thing, and then they love each other, and they have the gay best friend, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Like, it just gets on my nerve. I know some people love it, and if you love it, great. But this is a movie, it's Neil Simon, and he recently passed away, so I wanted to pick this. It's called The Goodbye Girl.
Oh, I love The Goodbye Girl.
It's the best movie ever.
It's so good.
For them. It's so good. Marsha Mason, Quinn Cummings, who, by the way, I am friends with Quinn Cummings on Twitter, and it like makes my heart like pitter patter when she says hi to me or something. Like, she plays Lucy, the daughter. Marsha Mason's this single mom, and Richard Dreyfuss is this pain in the ass New York actor, and he inherited the lease for their apartment. Very 70s New York. Like, the Upper West Side is really grungy, and it's it's a completely different world now to look at it, but they begrudgingly live together, and then they fall in love, and you feel it happening, and you really root for them, and they're both nuts, but you kind of like them,
And it's so funny because this was such a thing in the 70s. Like, Richard Dreyfuss is not a leading man.
No.
It's like Richard Dreyfuss, Gene Hackman, Dustin Hoffman. Like, these dudes were leading men in the 70s.
Yes.
And you never have that now.
Oh, no, it would be they'd have to be really ripped.
Right.
They'd have to have wrinkle-free faces and perfect hair.
I mean, could you imagine if like Paul Giamatti was like a romantic leading man?
Right. It's so cute. It's 70s New York, like I said. And the line, it's very, very funny because it's Neil Simon, of course. There was supposedly, what's the word I'm thinking of, a sequel to this. Neil Simon wrote it, and they had one kind of table read for it, and he was sort of mez on it, and then he put it away, and then he just never used it again. And supposedly Quinn Cummings has a copy of this script, but it's been remade, and it was with Jeff Daniels and Patricia Heaton, and it was really terrible. It's not good at all. It's a product of the time.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, like, Marsha Mason, like, her character, like, she needs to get a job. her job is to live with boyfriends. Like, that's literally how she's taking care of herself.
Right.
And in the end, she's taking care of him. Spoiler. It's just sort of, but I don't care. Like I said, I root for them so hard that at the very end, when she's like saying, I love you, and he's taking off in the cab to go to his first big movie job, you're just like smiling. If you're
feel
not,
like they
I don't
really
wanna
fell
know,
in
like, I
love.
don't know you. Yes.
Yeah.
You root for it. Yeah. And it's just such a journey, this movie. And I introduce friends to it all the time who've never heard of it. And they always get back to me. Oh my God, that is so cute. I love it. I want to watch it again. So that's mine. The Goodbye Girl.
Yeah.
1977.
Neil Simon's The Odd Couple, the original with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, is one of my go-to comfort movies, but I've already talked about it a million times on the show, so I didn't put it on my list. It's just so good. Like, I just miss such good writing.
There's movies nowadays that a few movies I've seen recently where I was just like, could no one hire a joke writer for this thing? Like, it's all improv now. They have actors kind of just improving and doing shtick,
which
and
almost always fails.
It takes you out of it. It always looks like they're trying too hard, and it's like, just put in jokes.
Yeah,
really funny jokes. Set up punchline. You know,
and writing dialogue is such a lost art. Now it's just we're saying the words that will further the plot along. Like, they're not trying to tell you anything about the characters or be clever. It's just, I hate it. It's so frustrating. But I love The Goodbye Girl. I'm happy that's on your list.
Thank you. What's on your list?
I'm going to go with my most recent movie on this list. I've got a 2016 movie on this list, and it's Arrival with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. And I realize that for many, this is not a comfort movie, but I've watched it. My husband bought it for me after it came out because I saw it in the theater. Let me go back to the beginning. I saw this movie in the theater right after our 2016 election. So needless to say, I was in a sensitive place. And I can't express how much I loved seeing this movie in the theater, not only because I think I needed to do something with like a communal experience, like we're all in this together, but also the idea in the movie of all these countries working together, not to fight something, but to understand it, made me feel so much better. And I've gone back to this movie 3 or 4 times on DVD because I need that. I need to think that maybe we'll all work together instead of blowing each other up. So I keep going back to it over and over. I just love it. I love that it's also a personal story that's part of like a big alien invasion story. And it's about like love and lost, and it's really thoughtful and smart. And I keep going back to it. It is very comforting to me.
I think it's a great choice. I've seen it a few times. I feel like I need to see it more, but I forgot about exactly when it came out. And there's certain things I turned to after that election. Yeah. I think a lot of us did. And I wouldn't even have thought of that movie because, like you said, it's not exactly comforting.
No, but there's plenty of people who have seen it and they say it leaves them really cold, or it really bums them out, which I can totally see those things. But for me, it's not those things. I think the movie is really comforting.
Well, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah. And I watch it all the time when my husband travels. He's like, "Are you watching Arrival again?" I'm like, "Yes." Of course I am. The world is a shit show. I need to watch Arrival and think that everything's going to be okay.
I feel like that about Black Panther. I've seen that movie like a dozen times this year. I've been putting that on quite a bit, but I wanted to go, like we said, I wanted to wait a couple of years before I picked the thing. But okay, I gotcha. I totally get it.
Like the Mr. Rogers documentary will probably go on this list in like 3 years.
There you go.
What else is on your list?
So I love this movie. Love this movie. It's 1999. It was not a hit at the time, but it's become a classic, and it's Galaxy Quest.
Oh God, I love Galaxy Quest.
I love everything about this movie. I don't think there's a wasted scene. I think it's got, talk about jokes. This is like jokes everywhere. I think the last 20 minutes of this movie are like as good as anything I've ever seen in my life. Like if I could only watch the last 20 minutes of Galaxy Quest, like every day, I would be the best mood ever. I think I love everything about it. It's a thing. Like I was first going to say Tim Allen. Like I finally like a thing with Tim Allen, but I also like the Santa Claus. I'm a weirdo. I think he's perfect though. He is perfect.
It is perfect casting in that movie.
Oh, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman.
Yep.
I mean, R.I.P.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell's in there. It's just Tony Shalhoub is in there. I mean, it's such a great cast. It's about these group of people that were in a Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica of the 70s kind of show. And then they're doing the circuit where they're going to Comic-Cons. And this is like before Comic-Cons were cool, or they were just kind of starting to become cool.
Yeah.
And they get kidnapped by the space creatures that think it's real, what they've been doing all this time. And it's so funny. It's so relatable. It has a lot of heart to it. Mm-hmm. And it's another thing, you really root for people. You root for their success. And then like at the very end, you're so overjoyed. It's such a great way to end it. I think it's just fantastic.
And it's just such a smart movie too.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people would have been like, here's the idea, and they just stop at that. But they don't just stop at that. Like there's really good like character moments. It's really funny. I love that movie. That's such a great pick.
Yeah.
When I worked at when I worked at a newspaper, I got sent Galaxy Quest like pint glasses. like the ones that you could get at like McDonald's or whatever. They were the best. I love them so much, and I'm such a klutz that over the years I proceeded to break them all. It's so awful.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah, my husband's really pissed. He doesn't like. He's like, I can't believe you broke our last Galaxy Quest glass. I'm so sorry.
Check out eBay. Maybe it's on there.
I know. I really should. Actually, I should do that for him for his birthday. He won't listen to this podcast, so he won't know. That's not true. He'll listen because he puts the show together.
So what's your next one?
Let's see. I'm going to go with my comedy pick. I love Tommy Boy.
Oh my God.
Tommy Boy. I know that like probably everyone loves Tommy Boy, but Tommy Boy makes me laugh stupid hard every time I watch it. I think the salty and sweet casting, like the idea of like Farley and Spade, they really were like a perfect team. They are stupid funny. Yes. So it's like Farley, Spade, Rob Lowe, Bo Derek, Brian Dennehy, who I know you love and I love.
I love Dennehy.
I love Brian Dennehy too. I mean, he was like born to play Farley's dad. You know, Dan Aykroyd and Julie Warner. She was so cute. What happened to what happened to Julie Warner? She was in like this and like Doc Hollywood, and she was going to be a thing, and then she went away. What happened to her?
I don't know. She had like a 90s sitcom or something too. She was going to be a thing. I don't know. Like sometimes that just happens. They get a few parts, and then there's just a lot of people in show business.
This movie, I could just sit here and make quotes from this movie for the next 45 minutes. Like, it makes me laugh really hard. It is one of those things that like friends quote it to each other all the time. Like, it really is like the very definition of a comfort movie.
I love when they're singing "Superstar" by the Carpenters in the car. They got me there. Like as soon as you saw like a weepy, Chris Farley singing the Karen Carpenter song, like I was just like, okay, this movie has got me. My favorite sequence. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
My favorite sequence is like when Tommy Boy he can't sell, which is me. I say when I'm trying to negotiate something, and somebody says no, I'm like okie dokie, and I just walk right out. I always have Tommy Boy in my head when I'm negotiating because I'm terrible at it.
My sister and I always quote after they're in a restaurant after they've had a fight, and David Spade has hit him across the face with a board, and Farley has this huge bruise like on his face, like up on the side of his cheek or whatever, and he's like, is there a mark on my face, Richard? It really hurts. And he's like, no, you look great. And then he's like, it doesn't hurt here. And he's like pointing above it or below it. He's like, but right here. And my sister and I just do it all the time to each other. And like the whole thing where he tries to explain to the waitress why he sucks at sales. where it's just like, I've got a shiny new pet, and he's just such a spaz, but he's so likable, and that's one of the why Farley was so great on SNL. Like, he really he did all these really physical things, and he's always like smashing through tables and like glass windows and like really doing all this physical stuff, but you could see that there was like a softness to him that, really, like, it just touched my heart. I was so sad when he passed away. It was such a bummer.
He was such a huge fan of John Belushi, and the fact that they were both had that thing, like they were big galoots. Yeah. And they would do like messy humor, but then they would stop and they would have a sweet face. Yeah. And you would totally go along with it. And they both died at 32. Yeah. From drugs. It's just crazy. Now, that's a really good choice.
Yeah. One of the other things I always do from Tommy Boy as well is, especially when I was pregnant, I would put on my coats that didn't fit, and I would say, like, fat guy in a little coat. And I had this, like, gigantic pregnant belly, and I'm, like, squeezing into, like, my little cardigan. Or I'm like, look.
Oh, I love it.
It's so great. Now I'm going to watch Tommy Boy after this.
I'm going to totally put that on my list. You don't understand. My laptop's right near me. I'm going to put it on Amazon.
Yeah, you need to watch all of these.
Yeah. All right.
What's next?
So next, 1996, and I never get tired of this movie. And I remember I went to see a screening of this movie with a woman that I co-host a podcast with now. And at the time, I was laughing so hard, and she just had a quizzical look on her face. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, she's my next-door neighbor. I'm like, we're never going to be friends because she has no sense of humor. Turns out she has the best sense of humor in the world. But it's called The Birdcage.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Mike Nichols, and it's Elaine May wrote the script, so you get Nichols and May. It's Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. They play a gay couple. And then Callista Flockhart is in there. Diane Wiest is in there. Gene Hackman. We mentioned Gene Hackman. I mean, it's very dated now when you think about it. Like, it's just two gay men trying to pass as straight. It has Hank Azaria as Spartacus Amador. Once again, jokes. Give me the jokes.
Why?
Set up punchline. Like, why can't people do that more? It's hilarious, and I love.
Why did your friend not laugh? I don't get it.
Erin, I don't know what her deal was. Like, she almost got this irritated look on her face. Like, it was okay, but I'm like, okay. The physical humor, I don't know. She likes it now, but at the time she just was like, she just thought it was okay. Sometimes you just need to watch something a couple of times and then you get it. And maybe that's what it was. But I remember we were riding home on the F train together, and I'm like, my stomach hurt from laughing so hard, and she was just like, I don't get it. I'm like, oh god, this person and I are never gonna be friends, and I'm stuck being her next door neighbor. Like, oh great. And she's one of my best friends ever.
I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad you could see your way past that to form a friendship.
It was very hard, I have to tell you, because I really think The Birdcage is hilarious. I just absolutely love this movie, and it's a little dated, like I said. It's 22 years ago.
Sure,
you have to keep that in mind. But the physical comedy, like Nathan Lane trying to sit as a straight man,
oh my god,
like as a heterosexual male, and the uncomfortable way he keeps his arms across his chest, or he crosses his legs, he uncrosses his legs. It's just, and Robin Williams, he's so good. He's so good in this movie. And Diane Wiest is hilarious. I love everything. I just love this movie, and it just takes me out. It's Miami in the 90s. It's completely away from our world, and so that's my next pick. The Birdcage.
That's an awesome pick, and I think you're right about that. It's just like jokes. Like, it's not just words for pushing the plot along. There's some jokes there. Is it Christine Baranski's in it too? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Who looks incredible.
Yes.
She has that dancer's kind of body.
Yeah.
That very lean, long legs, but she's hilarious. Everyone is just perfect. It's just such a fun movie.
We should do an episode sometime about like underappreciated actors.
Yeah,
I think Christine Baranski is underappreciated. That she's a national treasure. Like, everything she's in, she makes it better.
Oh, I would totally be up for that.
Okay.
Next show. All right, write it down.
Okay, that's on the list.
Yay.
I'm gonna email that shit to myself, as Erin would say.
Email that shit to yourself.
So it's funny you were saying you watched The Birdcage with your friend and you're like, we're never going to be friends. The next movie on my list, my friend John told me, is a movie that he used to show guys he was dating, and if they didn't get it, that he knew it wasn't going to work out. And it's 1998's Sliding Doors.
I love this movie.
With Gwyneth Paltrow and John Hannah and John Lynch. And I rewatched it again the other day, and it just holds up. I adore this movie. Like, I just love it. Like, and for people who don't know what Sliding Doors, and you probably don't, because I don't think it was exactly a huge hit. It did come out the same year as Shakespeare in Love, and that made her like a huge star.
She had a great year for movies for a while there. Yeah, she had a great couple of years.
Basically, Gwyneth Paltrow gets fired from her job, and so she's leaving her office, and she misses the train home. And the movie then kind of splits in two, and it shows you what would have happened if she had made the train and what happened when she didn't make the train, with these two different lives. Basically, when she makes the train, she catches her boyfriend cheating on her, and her life takes a different direction. And then the other one is she doesn't catch the boyfriend, and then what happens. And I love this movie. I think John Hannah is so cute in this movie. Like, he's so sweet. He's so patient. He's like the perfect like rom-com boyfriend. She looks amazing in it. This is like when she had her blonde pixie. She's so cute. And it's like a romantic Twilight Zone episode.
Yes,
basically.
It's exactly it.
But it also, a lot of people like to talk about like the universe gives me this and karma that. And I think it's about like, eventually, like, what's going to happen is going to happen. It's just, like, so I find that comforting. I just love this movie.
And I'm not even, I always found Gwyneth annoying.
Yeah,
like before she even started Goop.
She's very annoying.
She's rather insufferable. I mean, she's just one of those girls that gave me a hard time when I was in junior high and high school.
Yes.
Or she's that kind of chick. But be that as it may, when she's in the right part, she's a movie star. Like, you just can't take your eyes off her. That pixie cut, all those clothes that she wears, all of her outfits are cute. And the accent is perfect.
Yes.
And she has great chemistry with her co-stars.
Yes.
And she's very believable as like the wounded bird that can't seem to find her way. And she's very believable as the person who's coming out of her shell. She's believable both times, which isn't easy. It's got Jean Triplehorn, who I think is underrated. I love her. She was supposed to be a big star too. Remember that?
Yes.
She's great in this movie. I love the locations. It makes you want to go to London and get a boyfriend and make out with him and move in with him. And that's such a good choice. I think it's one of the ones that gets, I think it was on Sundance or something, like all the time. I feel like I've seen that movie like dozens of times. Yeah.
I just love it. And I'm also a big fan of the ending, and I'm not going to spoil the ending for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it ends like boom. Like, I feel like every movie goes on like 5 or 10 minutes too long. They just, they want to tell you everything. Like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And here they are in their home being happy and blah, blah, blah. Like, this one just ends like with such a good ending. I don't want to spoil it, but
no, it's great though.
I think there's a lot of movies out there. I would like them a lot more if they ended like 10 minutes earlier. And not because I have to pee, but because it needs to end story-wise. Like, I got it. You don't need to give me everything.
Leave me wanting more.
Yeah.
But I think they're so afraid of, like, because people now I think it's gotten to the point, like, people are used to 2.5-hour movies.
I'm not used to it.
And like 20 years ago, that was not the case.
Yeah.
Movies were like 90 minutes to 2 hours. Like, anything over 2 hours, like, all right, it's going to take a while. Like, prepare yourself. Especially like these Marvel films. How the hell are they? I just saw the Avengers Infinity War. I'm like, some people are like, when is this going to end?
It's
like,
so
it just goes on and on. It's miserable.
Long. So long.
It's the opposite of comfort movie, by the way.
Totally. We could do a whole separate thing on that. I do want to say one of the other things I love about the movie is it never tries to explain why we're seeing two storylines. There's no like, and then a wizard shows up, or
Right.
or like none of that stuff. Like there's no like magic or witchcraft or whatever. It's just, here's two stories. Let's see how they play out, which I appreciate too. We don't need all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a great choice. I want to see that again. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch that again. Putting it down.
I think it's on Netflix right now. That's where I watched it.
Okay.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
Get it. Okay.
What's
All
next
right.
on your list?
So we picked 5, right? This is my last
Yeah.
one. It's pretty obvious to a lot of people, and I was like, do I use it? Do I not use it? Because it's so damn obvious, but who cares? It came out in 1987. I saw this in the movie theater. It's one of those things, if you don't appreciate this movie, I have a hard time dealing with you. It's The Princess Bride.
Oh, come on. It's perfection.
It's perfection. And we did this for book versus movie, by the way. It is based on a book. Not a lot of people know that, but it is based on a book. So if you want to check out our episode, do. But it's Rob Reiner. He had a string of hits in the 80s, did he not?
Yes, he did.
He had some good movies
Come on,
there
The
for a while.
Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally,
Stand by Me.
Stand by Me. He did
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap, of course. I think, didn't he direct A Few Good Men?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He had a string of like really good movies. He's at his best. I mean, Robin Wright is in this movie. Carrie Elwes. It's Christopher Guest. It's Billy Crystal as
Mandy
Miracle Max.
Patinkin.
Mandy Patinkin. Andre the Giant. It's once again jokes like we like. But there's a lot of heart to it.
Absolutely.
Fred Savage and his grandpa, played by
Peter Falk.
Thank you. Columbo. Yeah, their scenes are really sweet, and it's just wonderful.
No.
It just always puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
I put it on and I have to watch it the whole way through, and it just I always own it in some form.
Mm-hmm.
I had it on VHS, that I had it on a DVD. I have a digital copy. Yeah, I always have it. And if you guys seriously, if you like it, get the book, because the book is really, really cute too. So that's my last choice. That's going to be The Princess Bride.
That's a perfect pick. I think if you looked up comfort movie in the dictionary, you would see a picture of the poster for The Princess Bride. It is perfect. It might be like a legit perfect movie, not just comfort movie, like an actual perfect movie.
It's got everything. It's got romance. It has adventure.
Yeah.
It's got scary stuff. It has family, heartwarming stuff. Like I said, it was a lot of great. The sword play. They actually learned how to sword fight.
It's so good.
It's incredible. There's not a wasted scene in this movie. Everything, it matters. Everything's important. And once again, jokes. Make me laugh. Okay.
Yeah.
That provides me comfort.
If somebody doesn't like this movie, they're not a human. That's how you know it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something.
Yeah. You need to watch it again. If you think like, oh, I tried watching it once, whatever, try again. It's really charming. It is incredibly charming.
And if you still don't like it, go see a psychiatrist. There's something wrong with you.
There's something dead inside
you're
that you
broken
need to work on.
And you need to fix that shit.
Yes.
So my last one, I had to put a musical on this list, and I think this qualifies as a musical. I put The Commitments on my list.
We have to talk about that movie one day.
I love this movie. The music is amazing. I love the music. Like everybody, like I had the soundtrack back in the day. It's like a well-worn album at this point for me, this movie. Like I can just put it on anytime and watch it. And I think it's really, really funny. I think the music's really great, but there's stakes because you really want this band to make it because they need it. And it's just like a perfect little movie. I don't even know if I need to describe it. I feel like most people know about it, but maybe they don't. It's set in Dublin, Ireland in 1991, and these like poor Irish kids, I don't want to say kids because they're probably in their 20s, form a soul band, and they're playing like classic soul, like Wilson Pickett and Aretha Franklin and things like that. And the idea is they're bringing soul back to Dublin, and it's such a good movie.
Is it based on a Roddy Doyle book?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I saw this in the movie theater. Did you?
Yeah, it played at my theater, and that made me so happy because I got to listen to it all the time.
So I might have seen it at your theater at
Maybe.
that time.
It was at the
I was
Walnut
living in
Creek
the Bay Area.
Festival. Yeah.
Yep, I was living in the Bay Area at the time, and I remember reading about this movie everywhere. And back then, you had to, like, if you were interested in a movie, you might have had to drive for an hour or something to get to the theater that played it, because you were not going to see it on VHS for a year.
Yeah.
So you had to go out and see it. I think there were 2 soundtracks, or was just the
Yeah,
one?
I think there were 2.
Yeah, I had both of them. And I wore them out too. I thought Maria Doyle, whenever I see her in something, I get so excited because she's one of the commitmentettes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few, like the lead. I wonder what happened. Was his name Andrew, the lead singer?
Yeah. I think, was he in another band?
I don't know. He was in rehab for a little while.
Oh.
Yeah, but the guy who played Jimmy Rabbit, he's really good. He's like putting the band together. It's
got Colin Meaney in it. I think Colin Meaney might have been the only person I recognized when I saw this movie, because nobody was a star.
No, Glenn Hastert, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, from Once.
From the movie Once. Like, he plays he's a teenager when he's in this movie. It's like the singing is fantastic. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been to Ireland. I've been there a couple times, and it's like one of my favorite places. I'm Irish American, so maybe I'm programmed to love it. But even shitty parts of Dublin, I'm like, oh, look at it, the cobblestone streets. Yes, it's great. There's a lot of great jokes in there, but the singing is wonderful. Like you said, there are stakes. You really care about them. You want them to succeed, and something. Who sees them in the end? Wilson Pickett, or yes. It's just great. Oh, that's such a good choice.
One of the scenes that it murders me every time, makes me laugh so hard, is their first like live performance at this fundraiser they're doing for a church, and it's like about like heroin or something, but they like spell heroin wrong on the banner and all this stuff. But like they start their performance and they don't know how to behave on stage, and like they're just super stiff and awkward, and at one point like the singer knocks all the background singers down, and like the guy's almost throwing up, and like he's like choking on his own vomit. Like, it's just so ridiculous. And then of course they get going, and you could see like they're actually really good. They just needed to warm up. It's such a good movie. I just love this one.
I love is it Cole Meany, when he sees his son and says with his band, and he goes, "Oh, is this the band?" He's like, "Yeah, Dad." He goes, "Oh, I bet you two is shitting themselves." It's one of my favorite lines. That made me laugh so hard. The whole thing, they always have that sequence with the auditions. Yeah. You know, who are your idols? Barry Manilow. You know.
Yeah, and they're like slam the door in their face.
Slam the door in their face. It's just great. It's so wonderful. I haven't seen that in a long time, but I love that movie.
They find their singer because he got totally smashed at a wedding and jumped up on stage and started singing. It's like he didn't even audition. Like, he just, they were at a wedding and he got all drunk and started singing at a wedding. I love it.
Yeah, it's a perfect movie.
It is a perfect movie. It gives me such comfort. Do you have any other backups you want to throw around before we go?
Yeah, well, on my list, I also strangely enough, I did have Star Wars, but of course, then I was like, no, I can't talk about Star Wars. Okay, so Cool Runnings. I love Cool Runnings.
That's a good one.
The Jamaican bobsled team. Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
I can watch that every single day. I know every single word. It was my dad's favorite movie, so I love that movie. And then my last one that I was going to pull, it was 2 more. It's a Wonderful Life. But I thought that's a little obvious, even though it is exactly what I need at Christmas time.
Yeah, I have holiday movies like that too. That they're just so comforting, but they're holiday movies, But
they're holiday movies, and of course. And then my last one, I was gonna pick in case something fell through here. Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future.
Talk about a perfect
ridiculous
movie.
Degree. Oh, people who don't love it, I just don't get them.
No.
Like, what are you missing?
Yeah, that's another broken human being right there.
Yeah, there's something, you're missing some joy in your life if you don't, especially another thing, the last 20 minutes of Back to the Future are like as good as anything gets in life, as far as I'm concerned. I could watch like that dance, the high school dance right to the end. I love it.
It's like a perfect script.
Yes.
No wasted scenes. Everything works. Everything happens for a reason in that movie. It's perfect.
Michael J. Fox is so great, and he was a TV star at the time, and it was a big deal for him to get a movie. Remember that?
It used to be
Family Ties.
Yeah, there was a huge separation between TV and movies back in the day. People that line is blurred now. People don't. You just see movies on TV or in the theater. You don't care. But like back in the day, it was a big deal when a TV star transitioned to movies.
And it was a summer film. It was a big deal. In 1985. Do you remember? And
the soundtrack too.
Oh yeah, well, Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
There's the 80. I mean, but Eric Stoltz was the person who had the part originally, and he got fired. Poor thing. Yeah. And then, but do you ever see those scenes when it is Eric Stoltz? They have a few outtakes. Good God, is he bad? He's taking it. He does it. He takes it a little too seriously. And you could just feel like Michael J. Fox has this lightness about him as Marty. He's like bouncing around everywhere he goes. It's just, I love
They needed someone with more comedy chops, I guess. And, and Eric Stoltz, don't feel bad for him. He got to make out with Leah Thompson later in Some Kind of Wonderful.
That's right. Some Kind of Wonderful. He was in Pulp Fiction. He got his laughs there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine. Okay. He's fine.
He's fine.
I had a couple on my list too. Of course, there's like, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Star Treks and all that. Casablanca, obviously, is one of my all-time favorites. I super love the 1984 Footloose.
Oh,
I love
that movie.
My dad will tell you that Rio Bravo's his favorite movie, but it's really Footloose. And we watched Footloose all the time when I was a kid, so I find it very comforting. I also love, and I've talked about this on your show, Legally Blonde.
Yep.
I think it's a perfect, like, I just got dumped movie. It makes me feel better. I don't watch it as much as I used to because I don't get dumped as often now that I'm married. But back in the day, I watched it quite a bit. And the other one I almost put on my list here was Gentlemen Prefer Blondes from 1953.
I haven't seen that in years.
It's so funny. I watched that one a couple years ago, and I was just blown away by how funny it is. Marilyn Monroe is hilarious in it, and Jane Russell is like hot stuff in it. It is such a good movie.
Oh, I got to check that out. I haven't seen that in a really long time. I got to check. Marilyn, I think it's, the reputation is she's really beautiful, and she's a total pain in the ass.
Right.
And that's kind of, but then when you see her on screen, she's incandescent. I mean, it's just like, you get why people put up with it because she's magical.
Yeah. Well, and she's just hilarious.
Yes.
She's
very funny.
Like, she says something in this movie. I hope I'm getting it right, where she says like, I am really smart, but sometimes guys don't like that, or, like basically she turns it off so that dudes will like her or something. But the way she says it is so funny. I'm not even going to try, actually, because I can't hold a candle to that. But that was going to be on my list. I feel comforted.
We have some good choices. Yeah, I think we have some good choices for people out there if y'all are looking for comfort movies.
Yeah, and I'm sure you are, because the world's a
shit pile.
It's a fucking dumpster fire right now. So awful.
And we're all going to hell.
We're all going to burn. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
So for all of my shows that I work on, the best place to find me is at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's my blog. I post all the stuff on my shows there. That's a great place on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, so Brooklyn Fit Chick. Instagram, though I post a lot of pictures of my cats on Instagram.
And they're adorable.
They're the cutest cats in Brooklyn.
They are.
And Facebook as well. And my shows are Book versus Movie, the Fit Bottom Girls podcast, the Best Neighbors podcast, and Not Fade Away. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about them.
You are welcome. And this is always super fun. And if you guys like the show and you want to give us a review, that would be awesome. We like that. You can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com, and you can find us on Twitter at Dorking Out Show, and you can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter, and I'm pretty active on Twitter, so if you reach out, chances are I'll probably respond within a minute, because I have no life. This was super fun, Margo. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me on again.